Hello, how's it going, everyone? Welcome into a brand new episode of Spencer Talks NASCAR. We are going to be discussing Dover this week. Y'all going to Dover, kind of a bad track, but we got a few other things to talk about. You know, I'm a Kyle Busch fan, so I know a lot of y'all that watch also like Kyle Busch. So we're going to talk about him and what the hell is going on with KB. Been a really rough start to the season, especially as of late. We're going to break down, is it time to panic about Kyle Busch, or does he have room to improve? You know, it's definitely one of those things to where he's got to just keep doing what he can do. There's no getting out of it now. I mean, he's an RCR driver, and he's got to be the one to save that organization, because if he doesn't do it, no one else will. Austin Dillon surely ain't saving RCR. So we'll see if Kyle Busch can get that ship righted. So we'll have more on that here, as well as the Dover race preview and a look at the point standings. Going to be looking at the point standing. It's going to go hand in hand with the Kyle Busch discussion, being that he's a playoff bubble driver at the moment. So we're going to be talking about that landscape. And then Dover, not going to do best bets this week, just going to talk about the race itself a little bit. And yeah, let's get into it, y'all. First up here, Kyle Busch. I mean, it's one of those deals to where I feel like this, y'all. Kyle Busch has just got to stop shooting himself in the foot, as well as his team. You know, he's had his share of issues, but it's a team effort, right? At the end of the day, they're just the 8-team, Kyle Busch, Richard Childress Racing. They've got to stop with these self-inflicted wounds, because it's finally caught up to them. They got off to a good start, almost won at Atlanta, but ever since then, it's been downhill. I mean, third race of the year at Las Vegas, had a top 5 car, squandered that away due to bad pit stops, ended up finishing like, I don't know, 20 something, well worse than what he should have. So, yeah, ever since then, it's just been kind of downhill. I mean, Bristol, he led some laps, but then had tire problems and didn't get to finish out there that he wanted. Phoenix, he was kind of a no-show. Coda, I think he was okay, but not really a contender to win. And Talladega just got caught up in the melee, just kind of going through the different races here. But as a whole, you know, Richmond was one that he was a no-show at. Martinsville, meh. I mean, just it hadn't been there, man. Let's be real. It hadn't been there. But the thing is, a silver lining is that as far as points given away, he's given away more than he's gotten, which, I mean, I say it's a silver lining. I mean that it's not really, because it goes to show how frustrating the season's been. But the point is that if he can clean up the mistakes, he's got the speed, right? Because they showed, I think it was in Martinsville, he had a top 5 car speed-wise, but he just had a bunch of issues where he wasn't running up there, didn't get the result he wanted. But I mean, shoot, he had a top 5 car speed-wise. So the speed for his team, unlike Austin Dillon's just been bad all around. No speed, no good results, just a complete disaster, which in a way has probably hurt Kyle, because he always want to have good teammates around you. That's one thing he always had going for him at Joe Gibbs Racing. But now going to RCR, doesn't really have many people to get feedback from. I mean, I wouldn't want feedback from Austin Dillon, but I guess that's all he's got, though. So at least Dillon's a veteran. At least he's not a rookie that's struggling like that. At least Dillon's someone that's been around and stuff. But anyway, Kyle Busch, though, if he can clean this up, then he'll make the playoffs. I'm just going to say it. He's out of the playoffs right now. Currently 12 points out. Logano and Chris Buescher currently tied for that 16th spot. But I really feel like Kyle Busch will for sure still make the playoffs if they can clean up these mistakes. Will they, though? I mean, it's tough to say, because they've been consistently making errors. They have given away. Kyle Busch himself, they interviewed him about this, and he said he has a spreadsheet where he tracks how many points he's given away, either himself or the team. It's, you know, it's a team effort. And he is, according to his calculations, they have given away 89 points, y'all. 89. That might be somewhat of an exaggeration, because, I mean, even if that's probably if he'd have gotten the maximum best finish in every race. And no driver can do that. Not even the points leader, Kyle Larson, can get his max amount of points. But I guarantee you, Kyle Larson hadn't left 89 points on the table. Shoot, he may have last year. I feel like Kyle Larson last year was very feast or famine. But at least Kyle Larson was able to win multiple races. Kyle Busch hadn't been able to do that. So unless he can get back to winning multiple races, he's got to start getting these points finishes going. They've got to be more consistent points-wise. And that's what burned him in the playoffs last year. I mean, yeah, he won 3 regular season races, but then playoffs came around and it was a disaster. I mean, Kyle Busch's team wasn't up to snuff. They fell apart in the second half. They lost their race-winning speed, and then just instead of getting the good finishes, man, just had a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Kyle himself and the team just didn't get going. And while they got off to a pretty good start this year, they didn't get the momentum going like they did last year. Last year around this time, they had a lot of momentum. I mean, they kept that up pretty much all throughout the first half of the year, but this year pretty much fizzled after Atlanta. They lost Atlanta by inches in that 3-wide photo finish with Daniel Suarez and Ryan Blaney, and ever since then, it's not been pretty. But Kyle did point to Dover and Kansas in that interview as get-right spots for him. He feels like these are 2 good tracks for him. He feels like these will be crucial spots for him to get right, and he's feeling good heading into these races. And I hope he's right because he sure as hell needs it. I mean, they're thinking Talladega might be a good bounce back considering how good he's been at super speedways, but you can't count on super speedways. I mean, these are the kind of tracks, though. If you're a true playoff team, these are the kind of tracks you'll come out and shine at, because Dover and Kansas are both tracks that are pretty straightforward, not very entertaining for the masses, and nothing like Talladega. But for the true NASCAR fans like myself and a lot of the viewers out there, I mean, y'all know how these tracks are. These tracks tend to favor the guys like Larson and Truex, and the ones that are up there each and every week, the true championship contenders. And so Kyle Busch and the 8 team have got to show that they're that these next couple of weeks. They've got to show that they're back to being front runners, because let's be real, the past few weeks they haven't been that. They have not really been front runners this season. I mean, if they wouldn't be out of the playoffs if they were. I mean, you can justify a few bad finishes here and there, but if you're consistently not getting top 10s, and you're not going to make it. But I think this is the time they can turn it around. I'm trying to stay optimistic about this thing. It's kind of tough. I mean, you're 10 races in, you're out of the playoffs. I mean, that's not where you want to be, but sometimes the journey isn't always easy. I mean, Richard Childress Racing has been kind of going through it lately for sure. I mean, as opposed to like Trackhouse, 2311. I think the thing is all the RFK Racing, these other 2-car teams are really maximizing their points. I mean, Brad Keselowski, second place finishes the past 2 weeks. Got off to a slow start, but he's now in the playoffs. I mean, he's starting to really get some momentum going. And Kyle Busch, on the other hand, was the one that started off really good, unlike Keselowski, but he has not been getting the good results lately. But the thing with Keselowski, it goes to show he is in a huge points hole. People are panicking about him early in the season, him and Logano, and now they're both back in it. I mean, Logano's not quite comfortable. I mean, neither is Keselowski. I mean, Keselowski, I think, is only just a few points to the good there, and 15th, and Logano tied for 16th with Buescher. So you're definitely not comfortable in that spot. You definitely would want to win to try to make yourself a little more comfortable, because even if you get a race win, you're not 100% safe, but you're 90-something% safe, I'd say. A guy like Daniel Suarez, I'd say, is pretty safe, even though he's outside of the top 16. But he's got that win, so as far as playoff rankings go, he is, I think they've had 7 winners this year, so he's 7th as far as that. But if you keep getting a bunch of random winners, I mean, let's just say Kyle Busch gets a win, and Brad Keselowski gets a win, Chris Buescher, Joey Logano, Alex Bowman, all these guys are capable of winning. Then there's going to be a log jam, because they got guys like Bubba Wallace, Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs. I mean, hell, even Martin Truex Jr. isn't really safe until he gets a win. I mean, we saw that year with Truex where, look, he was a for sure playoff guy, top 5 in points all year, and he ends up missing the playoffs. I couldn't believe that. I was like, how did he miss it? Like, holy crap. I think because they had 15 winners that year, and Blaney was the highest non-winner. I think this was 2022, first year next-gen car with all the parity. Blaney was the highest finishing non-winner, and so Truex got bumped out. And so it just goes to show you need to win. And a guy like Truex, yeah, he's really good in the regular season standings right now, but he's got to win races. That Richmond one slipped away. That's a killer. I mean, Dover is his home track, one of his better tracks, got his first ever NASCAR win here at Dover, is one here recently. This is a great track for Truex, so I would think he could easily get that win this week. But I'm just saying, though, we want to get these wins now while you got the chance, because you don't want to be in August scrapping and clawing for a playoff spot. I mean, if you're Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Keselowski, you want to get that monkey off your back now, because you want to be able to use those weeks to kind of prepare for the playoffs, as opposed to being like, shoot, I got to make sure I'm very careful, get the most points I can. And so I think Kyle Busch has got to get more in that mindset. I mean, yeah, you want to win races, but you got to start getting top fives, top tens. I feel like if you start getting that stuff, like Keselowski, a win's coming for Keselowski. The wins will come if you keep getting top fives and top tens. So I think Keselowski is in a good spot for sure. But Kyle Busch, I think, is definitely capable of that, but he's got to start doing it for sure here soon. But we'll pull up the point standings here, just take a look at them. That's what we've been talking about. Kyle Larson, he has his won at Las Vegas. He's the regular season points leader, definitely been more consistent so far this season. He is looking dangerous, man. He was my championship pick so far. I've had no reasons to want to change that. Martin Truex Jr. there in second, unless they'd have a bunch of winners. I mean, he'll get in. It's just he's got to show that he's still capable of winning. And he won, I think, 3 races last year. So I'm not panicking about Truex, but he just seems like he's kind of like, man, he's very fast, very good, but can he get to that championship level again? I mean, he won the one championship in 17, but can he get that second one? We shall see. Chase Elliott, he's up to third in the standings, got his first win at Texas. He's doing really well this year. He is back to being the Chase Elliott of old. Definitely not just a race winning contender, but a championship contender again. Chase Elliott's back, y'all. No surprise there. William Byron got the most wins on the season there with 3. He's been killing it all year. Shout out Willie B. Those Hendrick cars are dangerous. 3 of the top 4 in points. My goodness. And then Tyler Reddick, he's giving those boys a run for their money. He's got his first win at Talladega. Nearly ran down Larson at Las Vegas. Just imagine if that would have happened. Man, he'd have 2 wins. Larson wouldn't have any. But anyway, yeah, Tyler Reddick's got serious speed. He's one of the fastest drivers in the garage right now. 2311 Racing, y'all. It's really trending up. Denny Hamlin, the co-owner of 2311 Racing, 2 wins, doing his thing with JGR. Hadn't been quite as consistent this year as he'd like. He's had some bad results there, but he's also had a lot of good. So, yeah, only 3 top 10s. Wow, and 7 starts. That's a tad concerning if you're Denny Hamlin, considering how strong he normally is. But Kyle Larson, the points leader's only got 4. Byron and Reddick look like they have the most there at 7. And then the second driver actually with no wins, Ryan Blaney, there at 7th in points. He got off to a really good start, still doing well, but hadn't been quite as strong lately. Blaney will need to show what he's got here. He kind of hit a lull at this point last year and then got going for playoffs. So not worried about Ryan Blaney. Ty Gibbs, he's been struggling a little bit lately. Got off to a great start, but been kind of meh lately. Had a bad day at Dega, but I think he'll eventually get that first career win this year. And Ross Chastain, he's another one that's been knocking on the door. And Alex Bowman up 4 spots. Man, Alex Bowman's really surging. Just goes to show how strong Hendrick Motorsports is right now. Even their 4th best driver has been running well. And Bubba Wallace down a couple spots, but still doing well there for 2311. And Chase Briscoe. This is the wild card, I'd say. Chase Briscoe, because he's a name that not many people expected to be a contender this year. Stewart Haas Racing as a whole, most people wrote them off, figured that none of their drivers would be serious contenders. I didn't have any of their drivers making the playoffs, so I feel like Chase Briscoe has been just kind of sneaky good, and he doesn't have a huge points cushion, but he's got a little bit of one. I mean, he's now, 11 to the good. I mean, he's ahead of Christopher Bell in the points. I mean, Christopher Bell hadn't really had the kind of start he'd like. I mean, he's had a lot of 2 DNFs, just a lot of bad luck, but he's got the win. That's what's important for Christopher Bell. So he is definitely not panicking. But Chase Briscoe there, no wins, but no top 5. That's the thing that's a little concerned to me about Chase Briscoe. Yeah, he's been making the most of his equipment, 4 top 10s. That's very impressive in Stewart Haas equipment, but the no top 5s thing, I mean, if a bunch of these guys rip off wins, guys like Keselowski, Logano, Buescher, and Kyle Busch, that's going to probably leave Briscoe out of the playoffs, even if he stays consistent. But you never know. I mean, he's a guy that runs well at short tracks and road courses. So maybe next time we go to one of those tracks, he could steal a win. And then Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Chris Busch, or Kyle Busch, all in similar positions right there on the playoff bubble that need to get wins, y'all. I mean, they need to get wins in order to get comfortable, because even Keselowski, 2 second-place finishes the past 2 weeks, even he can't get comfortable. He got to that slow start. So these guys are running okay, but not well enough to feel good, but they definitely have the potential to get going. A guy like Joey Logano, we know what he's capable of. Chris Buescher won multiple races last year. I mean, Kyle Busch, a 2-time champ, Keselowski, a former champion. All these guys are great drivers, so we'll see if they can get going there. Their teams, I mean, it's a team sport, got to be going well with their teams, because if not, then you're probably going to miss the playoffs. This Cup Series deal here, I mean, these 16 guys, these 16 playoff spots, all 16 playoff drivers are serious. I mean, you're not getting any slouches in here. I mean, even Daniel Suarez, I mean, yeah, he's not a top 16 driver at the moment, but I mean, he's got the win to where he should get in there. And I mean, even he's no slouch. I mean, he's capable of running well at a variety of tracks. So I would say these 18, though, are the ones to watch, though, as far as the playoffs. 2 are going to get left out. That's kind of wild to think about, because I feel like all 18 of these drivers are capable of contending for not only for wins, but maybe even a championship. Because, I mean, Ryan Blaney at this point last year, no one was really talking about him as a championship driver, and look how he turned out. So you just never know. I mean, the Cup Series is still very wide open, but the Hendrick cars are looking very good. It's going to be hard to knock them off. But somebody might be able to, hopefully. So I'm not a Hendrick fan, but I'm just, I respect their greatness, but it's like, I always like to root for the underdog. So Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, Carson Hocevar, John Hunter Nemechek, Ryan Preece, Todd Gilliland, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there round out the top 25. So don't really see any of these guys stealing wins, making the playoffs. But I guess you never know. I mean, Daytona's still on the schedule, second Atlanta race. I guess these guys could maybe do it there. And in road courses, a guy like Cindric, good on the road courses. Michael McDowell, he's dropped to 26 in the standings. Damn, he was a guy that almost pointed his way in last year, but he got the road course win, so he got in like that. So keep an eye on Michael McDowell. He's kind of down right now, but he can maybe make some noise. Noah Gragson, if it wasn't for that points penalty, he'd be a lot better off, but still a 27th. He's going to probably need to steal a win type thing to get in. And Josh Berry, Daniel Hemrick, Corey LaJoie, he's been kind of disappointing this year. Same goes for Austin Dillon, Harrison Burton, Justin Haley, Kaz Grala, Zane Smith, the last of the full-time Cup guys. None of those are going to be making any noise as far as the playoffs, I wouldn't think. But I guess you never know if someone might figure something out in the second half. But, yeah, that's the Cup Series points rundown there through 10 races. We've got 16 races left before the playoffs, y'all. So let's not talk Dover, though, because we still got plenty of time before the playoffs. So let's discuss Dover and who the top drivers are. We're going to look at the career results here, and then I will pick the driver that I think is going to win. Now it's a Dover Motor Speedway. That just doesn't roll off the tongue very well. But anyway, let's see it here. I believe AJ Allmendinger's in the field this week, but hadn't done a whole lot at Dover, throughout his career. Colleague Racing, not a contending team right now. So definitely not going to worry about him as far as being a contender there. Christopher Bell, 2 top 10, the top 5 in his career, 16 average finish. Pretty good. These are the kind of tracks he could do well at. And even though he's doesn't really have much to show for it throughout his career, I mean, he's got a top 5, and I think he could get a win here. He could be sneaky this week. Let's see. Ryan Blaney. He has got 3 top 10 in the top 5 and 13 starts, 18.2 average finish. Yeah, hadn't been too impressive here, and he hadn't been running too well lately, so probably would fade Blaney this week. Alex Bowman, though, a win, 5 top 5s, and of course 5 top 10s. But yeah, just 17.8 average finish. Damn, he's a lot of those are probably when he was driving for not as good a teams. I bet if he take his starts with Hendrick, he's got really good numbers here. So Bowman could be sneaky. He's one of those guys that could use a win. And Chase Briscoe, not a whole lot to show here. He's one of those bubble drivers. Maybe he could surprise. But then Chris Buescher Only 2 top 10. Another one that struggled here. Harrison Burton, not much to show. Kyle Busch, I mean, yeah, throughout his career here, very strong, 3 wins, 13 top 5s, 21 top 10s, and 14.2 average finish. Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. So Kyle Busch could maybe be in the mix if his team does right by him, but he's looking better here. William Byron has good career results here. 3 top 5s, 4 top 10s. 12.9 average finish. Ross Chastain, not great career numbers here, but I feel like with Trackhouse, he's been better. 2 top 5s, 2 top 10s. I believe those came in recent seasons. Austin Cindric has struggled here in 2 career starts. Austin Dillon, not a whole lot to show here. 3 top 10s are not too bad. Chase Elliott, it does very well here at Dover. Two wins, 9 top 5s, 9 top 10s, 9.8 average finish. That is very good. Ty Gibbs finished 13th last year here in his only start. Todd Gilliland, 2 starts, nothing much. Noah Gregson struggled last year in his only start here. Justin Haley, 17 average finish. That's pretty good. 2 starts. That's solid considering he hadn't had much equipment to work with there. Denny Hamlin, only 1 win, but pretty decent results here. 7 top 5s, 15 top 10s. Average finish, 16.1. So it isn't one of his better tracks, but Denny, though, is solid here. He's pretty solid wherever we go. Daniel Hemrick, 23 average finish, 2 starts, nothing much there. Eric Jones, a top 5, 3 top 10s, and 11 starts here. 13.8 average finish, although he is out this week, y'all. Corey Heim going to be taking his spot. Eric Jones suffered a back injury last week at Talladega after that hard hit. We hope he will be back in the car soon. I think he will. Didn't seem like a super serious injury, but serious enough to where he will miss this race. Brad Keselowski, a win, 5 top 5s, 11 top 10s, 12.9 average finish, y'all. I mean, BK, Brad Keselowski, he'll be one I'm keeping an eye on for sure. He's been running really well lately. He's been so close to that first win in like 100 races. So I think it's coming sooner rather than later. Kyle Larson, a win, 7 top 5s, 11 top 10s, 8.6 average finish. Very, very good here, y'all. Kyle Larson, we already know what he can do. Michael McDowell kind of struggled here. Ryan Preece, he has also struggled here. No top 10s and 7 starts. Tyler Reddick, 2 top 10s and 5 starts, 15.2 average finish. Not a bad track for him. Probably not one of his better places either, though. But he's been so good lately, I would not be shocked if he made a push to win. Ricky Stenhouse, top 5, 4 top 10 and 20 starts. 19.4 average finish, not terrible. Daniel Suarez, top 5, 5 top 10s, 15.3 average finish. He could be a dark horse driver to keep an eye on. Just imagine if he got his second win, man. I mean, I'm not expecting it, but don't completely count out Daniel Suarez there. And then Martin Truex Jr., 4 wins, 10 top 5s, 19 top 10s, 11.4 average finish. He is Mr. Dover, y'all. I mean, this is his home track. I mean, he's the favorite, I believe. I actually think Kyle Larson's the betting favorite this week, but Truex right there. I mean, he's a guy that could easily win this thing. And then Bubba, he hadn't done too well here. No top 10s, but 20.2 average finish isn't terrible. And yeah, that's it for the active Cup drivers for this that have made starts here before. I mean, guys like Josh Berry, Carson Lewis, Zane Smith weren't on this list due to just having any Cup Series data here. But anyway, let's pick our winners, y'all. I think the 3 drivers I'm going to narrow it down to that I think have the best shot this week. I'm going to say Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, and Chase Elliott. I think is going to come down to those. I mean, Kyle Larson and William Byron also both really good, although, man, I think Truex, though, I mean, this is his home track and all that. Like, I think he won the race here last year, and I feel like it's kind of a similar type thing to last year with Truex, to where he's been very good, but he's come so close. I hadn't quite gotten it done. But Dover just seems to be a place where he is able to get it done. And so I'm going to go ahead and pick him to win. Although it would not surprise me if one of the Hendrick cars did it. Or Brad Keselowski. I mean, those are his biggest threats. The 3 Hendrick guys and Brad Keselowski. But I'm going to go ahead and go with Truex. I think he gets it done at Dover. All right, y'all. That's going to do it for this episode. Spencer Talks NASCAR. I really appreciate everyone. We're keeping the show afloat for sure. It's been, tough. I'm not gonna. It's been kind of tough to keep it rolling with all the stuff going on and in my life and all that with the new job and different stuff. In the NFL, I do NFL content, a shameless plug. Spencer the Guru, I give fantasy football advice and such on there. But keeping Spencer Talks NASCAR growing because I still love NASCAR. Still got a place in my heart. So, yeah, we're going to definitely keep the conversation going. Appreciate everyone that's been hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. Peace out.